Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video I want to introduce you to the ThunderMaker Wellness Center in Prescott, Arizona. They are helping Indigenous people become sober and clean the Indigenous way. So with sweat lodges and learning about their culture and keeping their spirit, which is very important. Most of the programs out there are Christian based, and that's not a bad thing because they're doing great work too. But in order to keep their culture and live their traditions, it's very important that they are able to become clean and sober the Indigenous way. So I can't tell you how appreciative I am for these guys, for Hunter and Arrow and all the people of the ThunderMaker Wellness Center. And I invite you to stay with me and listen to their words. They are going to be talking about their work and what is important to them and so on. So stay with me. And it's a very important thing. Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm sitting here with Arrow and Hunter, the founders of ThunderMaker Wellness Center. And I met them about a week ago. And I was so touched about what they do and why they do it and how they do it that I decided that I definitely want to, spread the word. So, yeah. I'm going to hand the word over to you so you can introduce your project and everything you want to say, you want to share, just do it.
My name is Hunter Thundercloud. I'm Ho-Chunk from Wisconsin. I came out to Prescott, Arizona 8 years ago for recovery, and after being here for a while, trying to figure out how to stay sober and seeing a lot of the failures and the lack of opportunities for Native clients. We decided to build something, but I met Era here by chance. I mean, we were both. He was working recovery, and I met someone, and she was like, I know I don't know if it was I know a Thundercloud or I know a Funmaker, and he was like, that's a Ho-Chunk name, and it introduced us, and it really started the process of this, which has been going on for about 6 years, So it started out with a nonprofit, and it started really around a sweat lodge. It started around the fire. So.
My name is Arrow Funmaker. I'm a member of the Ho-Chunk Nation from Black River Falls, Wisconsin. Like my brother Hunter was saying, we started this program based on the sweat, the fire. We saw a lack of representation for our people within behavioral health, and rather than contribute to the problem or talk about the problem, we decided to participate in the solution. And one of the solutions we came up with was providing a space where our culture, our ceremonies, our foods, and our language was represented for our people within the behavioral health field. So we started this nonprofit named ThunderMaker Cultural Recovery. I believe it was in 2020. And we started advocating for representation spiritually and culturally within behavioral health programs in the country, specifically here in Arizona in the beginning, because that's where Hunter and I began our relationship here. And it was pretty successful. We were going into a lot of programs providing sweat and other ceremonies and bringing people out to our facility. We hosted quite a few bear dances, which we had some relatives come out from California, and we did that seasonally. We provided 4 bear dances for ThunderMaker Cultural Recovery, as well as outside programs here in the state, and it was pretty successful. We had quite a few people come out, and what we noticed was the fire, I guess, within our people was ignited there, and everybody was really excited and grateful to be a part of the ceremony that was provided, which was a huge thing. And in the meantime, Hunter and I were developing this program, ThunderMaker Wellness Center, and it took 6 years to get here, but we're finally here, and we've been able to open up our doors. We've been open officially for a little over a month now, and what we're doing is providing a new opportunity for our people to heal and create leaders and, you know, create this change. Nothing that we're doing here is new or belongs to us. It's all teachings that have been passed down to us, you know, from our elders and, you know, mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, you know, generations before us, where we feel like we're just providing a necessary piece of that education to pass down to, you know, our people and our youth and, you know, 7 generations to come, being mindful that everything that we're teaching and providing is, you know, recycled words and education that were given to us. And, you know, Hunter says it's our responsibility, and he's right. It's our responsibility to take care of our people and help one another and create this foundation of family. You know, that's really what we are. We're trying to create this old style village, you know, where family's represented and we're all equally contributing to the health and well-being of one another. So that's kind of what ThunderMaker Wellness Center is. It's a circle, it's a family, it's an opportunity based on old teachings, old ceremonies, and, you know, even right down to the food, you know, what we're providing for our people as far as the food element. You know, we're using deer meat, buffalo meat, sheep, you know, corn, squash, beans, you know, all these traditional ingredients to provide not just a mental change and well-being for our relatives in recovery and life in general, but also like what we're feeding ourselves. You know, it's important that we do our best to heal not just ourselves, but people in general on all levels, you know, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. What we feed ourselves is just as important as what we're feeding ourselves mentally. It's been a dream and a vision for years, you know, and luckily for us, we've been able to meet a lot of very good, you know, people that have a strong foundation of what, you know, spiritual integrity is within our people. And that's really what we're promoting here, is getting back to a traditional sense of life and living, and reinstill that within our men, you know, to show them that we need to be protectors and leaders and advocates for our people, and, you know, for human beings in general. It's not just a native thing, it's a human being thing, and that's what we're really trying to advocate, is better care for us as human beings, and that's really what we're promoting here and trying our best to participate in a healing process.
So it's a 2-year program. It's 6 months of stabilization. It's not based on a traditional model. If we look at insurance-based models for rehab centers nationally, the average success rate is less than 10% of a year of sobriety after you leave. We know that there's programs out there where it's the exact opposite, where they have 90% success rates over a 5-year period after exiting a program. But those programs aren't paid for by insurance. They are alternative models. You know, the system doesn't really want, I don't know if they don't want it, but they're not helping provide it. They're not helping and making it happen. You know, insurance gives you such a short window, and in that window, everything is designed and dictated about how they want you to treat people. And, you know, we know that our ceremonies work. They've worked for thousands of years. We're still here. You know, Native Americans have been we've had a genocide in our country. You know, they've tried to wipe us out, whether it's through killing all the buffalo, putting us into boarding schools, and studying blood quantum. You know, I don't know, not everyone understands blood quantum, but you can be 100% native, and if you're two different tribes, you have to pick one, and the other one doesn't exist. You know, we're able to breed ourselves out. And this is something that British colonizers have done to every colonized place that they've done. You know, I met someone recently who's from Wales, and he was talking about until the 1970s, they weren't able to have any Welsh words anywhere. And that's the exact same thing that happened to Native Americans here. We weren't able to do our ceremonies until 1978. You know, the problem that we're trying to help change is a colonial problem. It's the people that have been colonialized by the English have done the same thing to every place that they've gone. They've put everyone into boarding schools and tried to kill their culture. You know, and when we look at this, you know, there's lots of types of wealth and poverty. You know, I think economic poverty is something that is done when you take away cultural wealth. If you're culturally wealthy, you probably aren't impoverished. You know, you may not be able to be involved in the economy the same way, but there are tribes out there that are culturally wealthy, that are able to live off the land, that are able to feed themselves, they know their language, they're able to, you know, survive and live great lives. But when you take that piece from them, they become impoverished. They become destitute. You know, and when we look at how do we change that, for us, the cultural aspect of healing us is one of the main components. That's our core component. You know, most rehabs, when you go into, you're in groups for 6 hours a day. You know, and by not using an insurance model, we don't have to do that. We're able to heal people where they need to be healed for long-term success. You know, and that's why we're doing 2 years. A year and a half will be vocational training. People need to be able to leave and have jobs and be able to provide for their families. We live in both worlds. You know, so we need to give people opportunities, skills, and the ability to have dignity. You know, we want our men to be leaders, and when they go back, have dignity and help raise their communities to where they should be. You know, we're supposed to be the caretakers of this land, and you know, men have been demasculized. You know, the men in Native communities do not know how to do it anymore, and a lot of those consequences come in negative forms of sexual abuse, violence, verbal abuse, neglect. You know, and I know that every man that we've ever worked with doesn't want to be that man, but they have lost that ability because maybe their parents were taken away from them by the government and didn't know how to raise them. That's an effect of generational trauma. And the only way to really change any of those things is long term. There has to be a cultural shift. And ThunderMaker is dedicating itself to find ways to have a cultural shift and a movement to really build leaders. And it's, you know, I didn't grow up spiritually. You know, I grew up as an atheist in an urban environment. You know, I found my spiritual place out here through Arrow. You know, Arrow was lucky enough to grow up in ceremony, and I'm lucky enough that he's an amazing teacher.
You want to say something?
Yeah, it's a group effort. Everything that we're doing revolves around ceremony. Like Hunter was saying, I was fortunate enough to, my father raised me as a single parent, and one of the things that he was able to give me was a cultural foundation. You know, since I could remember, I was always sweating and participating in ceremony, and you know, him being the person that he was spiritually, I was able to be in, you know, circles of men and women that aren't here anymore, that were, you know, vital contributors to the spiritual freedom that we live today. You know, like Hunter mentioned earlier, it was considered illegal for us to participate and utilize our ceremonies up until 1978, which just happens to be the year I was born. So my entire life, I've been able to live this life of spiritual freedom with pride, and understanding that, I think, also contributes to the sense of responsibility that we have to preserve this way of life, this teaching, this culture and ceremony, preserve the fire. You know, Hunter and I started sweating in 2018, 2019 together, and Hunter was kind enough to let us utilize his home and land at the time to put up a sweat, and that's essentially where everything started. You know, we were sweating every week, sometimes twice a week, having conversations, you know, educating ourselves and sharing knowledge, teachings. You know, I have an aspect of what ceremonial life is, and Hunter has been a successful business person for years. Like, he's built homes for community members, he's built homes for people, and provided jobs and opportunities for a lot of people within our circle and our family and our community. And so I think in that manner we complement each other. And having that relationship in the beginning, you know, there was one evening after sweat, we were sitting around the fireplace talking, you know, about different dreams, visions, and goals, and you know, how we need to find a way to stop victimizing ourselves and find ways to actually grow and move forward. And it was around that fireplace that evening when we were discussing, you know, what if we had an opportunity to build something, you know, from the ground up for our people. And that's kind of where ThunderMaker started, was right there in front of that fireplace. So having that knowledge and thought that all of this came from that fireplace, I think is a key part in the realization of where everything comes from, where it starts from. You know, we see us as responsible caretakers to keep that fire going. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is teach everybody else to come to this fireplace and allow themselves to heal and learn something that maybe our parents weren't able to provide, you know. And I think that's what we're doing, is trying to realize that we're stepping into these new roles in life at the ages we are, and acknowledging that we're not the nephews anymore, we're the uncles. And it was a little shock for me, honestly. I have a nephew. For whatever reason, I kept calling him brother. And he looked at me one day and he's like, you know, I'm not your brother, like, I'm your nephew. And I was like, oh wow, you're right. And I think having that acknowledgement and having our youth kind of express that to us, like you guys are our uncles now. It's your responsibility to help guide us in the places that we need to be. So I think for Hunter and I, stepping into those roles has been a pivotal part to where ThunderMaker is going now. And like he was saying, it's new. This is a brand new thing. There's a lot of programs out there that provide cultural services for our people, but I honestly don't think it's on the same level. We're not a nonprofit, so we're not scrambling trying to get funding opportunities. We're self-funded. Luckily we have a lot of family members and community members that believe in this vision and dream, so they're willing to help us get from point A to point B. And we're dependent on that funding source right now. But the future goal is to become self-sufficient, to where anybody can come into this program and have a bed and a place at the table and an opportunity to speak with a therapist, to participate in group, which our groups are based around the fireplace. They're based around ceremony. We sweat sometimes twice a week. We're able to travel to different areas, different reservations, different tribal places, and provide opportunities to kind of bridge the gap culturally. We're very segregated as people. Unfortunately, there's this, thought that us as Native people are very united and together, but unfortunately that's not the reality. We're very segregated, and we've allowed ourselves to continue that mentality. And I think, not that we're like this huge contributor, but we want to be able to show our people like we can come together as a whole, as a family and a community, and help ourselves heal and make that necessary change. Hunter talked about a cultural shift earlier, and that's what we're in right now. We're in this shift where our youth are advocating for themselves, and the youth are speaking up, like, we want our ceremonies, we want our culture. There's a lot of schools within different reservations now that are utilizing language. You could send your child to school, and whether or not you speak the language right now, your child has an opportunity to learn that language, which I think is a very important piece to our cultural survival. The whole blood quantum thing, if we have a blood quantum, we have an expiration date, and that's really unfortunate, because I think the system that generated this, always had the hopes that we would die off at some point. And to me, it's like the long con, and we're trying to make that change. If we have our ceremonies, if we have our language, we have our cultural beliefs still intact and feeding that flame, that fire, then we're able to continue on as a people. And that's what we're trying to advocate for, is coming together, creating that cultural bridge with one another, to where we're not so segregated and white picket fence and this is my ceremony, my land. Hunter and I, within ThunderMaker, there's no I, me, mine. It's us, ours, we. We try to advocate that, and we say that every day to our relatives here, as well as the team that we have working here. It's us, it's ours, it's we, together. That's the only way we're going to survive, is if we come together and advocate for a community-driven project, which I think ThunderMaker is that. And we're really excited. We're actually doing this interview here right now in our office space, which is an amazing place. We can't wait to show everybody.
You can do that now if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You want to show us around?
Yeah, please.
All right, let's go.
Let's take a tour.
All right. Ready?
Yeah. So where we're at right now is one of the meeting rooms here. We host a lot of events, outside meetings. We have a lot of community members here in the town of Prescott, Arizona, to come in, and we host sobriety meetings and talking circles here for our relatives in the county for recovery. We have a lot of people come up from Phoenix, come down from Flagstaff, and we have a lot of guest speakers come in from different reservations. Different tribal members will come in and provide a few hours of their time to share their cultural knowledge and teachings and life experiences within addiction. Some of them, maybe have never tried a drug or alcohol in their life, but they're key components to cultural survival. So we definitely advocate for that as well.
And everything that we've done, we've thought about it. All the paintings around the ceiling, it's applique. It's from a northern tribe, Ho-Chunks. We use a lot of applique. We're trying to make the feeling come in where it feels welcoming. We try to have tons of plants, things that are growing with life, so we can take care of. Almost all the art in here is Native American art by Native Americans that believe in what we're doing. And we have people that come all the time. We have this up here. We probably have 6 or 7 of not random, but Native Americans that come and support us, and they bring us an offering because they believe in what we're doing. And to me, that's the old way. They're coming here and they believe in what we're doing, and their prayer is being dropped off with them. Mm-hmm. And that's what the space is for. This is a ceremony in itself, and this is what I tell a lot of the guys. It's a 2-year program, but this is the hardest ceremony that they'll probably do the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. And this is the ceremony that will give them back the life that they want.
Yeah, we kind of see everything as within this 2 years we have 4 areas, 6-month periods, and it is a ceremony. Each 6 months is like one round in the lodge or one day up on the hill, and that's what we're really trying to push here. Is everything that we're doing here revolves around ceremony, all of it, from the beginning to the end.
When someone comes to you, like looking for help, mm-hmm. What procedure, or how do you start? How do you do you have a procedure that everybody goes through, or is it individual, or I just wonder, where do you start? Do you start here in a circle or individually, or?
Well, they'll start off with groups. I mean, we have it's really an 8-week program they'll start in, where they do kind of, it doesn't matter where you come in, you're going to finish the 8-week program. But that's really just the mornings. In the afternoon, we do a lot more art therapy, music therapy. So we do drum practice, and then we do other art projects. We're going to be building drums with clients in the next couple weeks, so everyone will make their own drum. And it becomes one of those things that we want people, if they've never done that, to learn how to drum and sing. So when they go home, they're taking back something that they can give. I mean, lots of men haven't been able to teach that or learn that. And we're not trying to make them Lakota or Ho-Chunk or Dene, or we're trying to teach them to be inspired by their culture, so when they go home, they know how to hold themselves. So it's, to me, lots of ceremonies are about intention. So, if we can learn that intention in one ceremony, we should be able to bring it to another one.
Yeah,
Can I just shortly say something? You said something beautiful before we started recording. You said you don't call them clients, you call them relatives.
Yes.
And I love that so much, and I just thought people should know that.
Yes, they are. They're brothers and sisters and uncles, and right now we're only taking men, but our goal is to take women too. But this is where we're starting, and we want to have a strong program before, we just open up to everything. We want it to be a program that's really successful. We want to be the opposite of what the standard is. The complete opposite. We want people to live and never have to come back.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, recovery is like a revolving door, you know, especially with the insurance model. You have 30 to
Yes,
60
go on,
days.
go on.
We're trying to make that change, so this is kind of a base of what we're doing. When everybody comes in, the first thing we're going to focus on is humility. And I think that also speaks to the way we utilize the sweat is when we crawl in, we're kind of presenting ourselves with that humility. And it's the same thing here. You know, when you walk into this door, you're admitting to yourself, like, I can't do this alone. I can't do this by myself. I need help. So, you know, and then hopefully at the end, there's a little more wisdom that you walk out of the program with. And this is our arts and crafts room here. We do a lot of sewing, beading, gourd making. We work with feathers. And the relatives here, they shine in this area, you know. I think that's one of the things that we acknowledge and realize is like our people are artists, you know. You can look anywhere in the world and, you know, if there's 5 ethnicities that represent art, Indigenous people are definitely within that 5. And, you know, showing our people, you know, our relatives in recovery, we don't have to continue to sell our wares on the side of the roads. You know, there's a place out there for us, and them being in this space here is definitely showing them their worth artistically. But I think human beings in general have that spark within them. It's just about finding the right places, people, and things to help open up those doors.
Right. I'm gonna show them, you know, up close. It's just beautiful.
We're making rattles. These rattles, we go and get the cords, and then everything we go and get the materials. We're not buying any of it. We go and harvest everything. So a lot of the medicines that we're harvesting right now, these are all something clients are learning how to do. You know, we were just in Minnesota, and we had someone give us some sweetgrass, and you know, they're not the tightest sweetgrass, but this is the thing. It's a process. We're learning, and they're learning, and it's not about perfection. It's the intention. These still get to be used for ceremony. You know,
I think that's also a part of it is, you know, if we look at this braided sweetgrass right now, the relatives that are here have been here for less than a month, right? So this is the beginning. So this is also a representation of, I think, the individual, you know. Our dream is by that end of that 6-month period, this braid is going to be super tight, you know, and very uniform. Not that it has to be, but, you know, it's the same thing with drumming. Like right now, you know, with the first few weeks, we might not be able to keep that rhythm, but our goal and intention is at the end of that 6-month period, that initial first 6 months, you'll be able to keep that drum, you know, representing your heartbeat, because in the beginning, we're like all over the place. And, you know, we don't really have a healthy foundation to stand on, but at the end of that 6-month period, you're going to be able to take a lead and keep that beat going, you know.
But even these paintings, they were done by someone here. So it's.
I have no Zoom, so I always have to walk when I want to close up. Okay.
This is one of the areas that we're very proud of right now. This is all part of our curriculum, and this component is very important because nobody else is doing this, you know, and we're very proud of our relatives that are here participating and, you know, showing, you know, this significant change in what groups can be and will be for our people.
And they're not going home and watching TV.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we're reading books and we're talking about ideas, and you know, we're looking at native philosophers and beliefs, and you know, we're learning about who we are, because not everyone got to grow up with it, and it doesn't mean they don't want it. You know, I realize lots of Native Americans that didn't grow up around it have identity issues because they do want it, because they know that they're Native and they feel it. And I think when you're on the land that was yours, that was taken away, you feel that every day in a different way. You know, it's there, it's deep. You know, this is something that was taken and you live on it, and it's not accessible. You know, and I think until we learn how to regain that dignity, to either buy it back or, you know, slowly become entrepreneurs and take some of it back, and you know, I don't know if it should all be just given to us. I think we have to learn how to take it and fight for it, because if we just get it, they'll come back with lawyers and they'll take it in another way. And I think we see that all the time. You know, mining companies will come in and they figure a way to take it out and take it another way, even if it's ours. So we have to really learn how to protect ourselves long term.
We're in a pivotal time right
Absolutely.
now. We have a lot of opportunities that are given to us now. We have a lot of lawyers, doctors, financial institutes. Like, as Indigenous people are represented at the greatest part right now, and this is like the perfect time to make those changes and contribute to spiritual wealth, generational wealth, things like that.
Am I allowed to record this?
Oh yeah.
What is this?
This is a hide that was gifted to us in our program from a relative in Cherokee, North Carolina. The hide is over 125 years old, and the family and the relative out there wanted to give this to us for our people, for our center, for our community here. And I mean, that's that support system that we love. You know, something as important and big and old as this thing was gifted to us because they wanted the people that come in and out of these doors to have some healing, to have some medicine. And this is them contributing that medicine to what we're doing here. We're really grateful to her and the family there that provided this for us, for our relatives in recovery. It's good medicine.
Yeah.
We are having somebody build a frame for it right now, so it'll be behind glass pretty soon. And then this here is one of our rooms. This is our quiet room for our relatives. At any point during the day, they can just step into here and kind of decompress, relax, listen to some white noise, or do some reading or some journaling. It's a good space.
It is very calm, safe.
Yeah. And we have a lot of cedar, sweetgrass, everywhere. So it's an everyday thing. The relatives will light up some sage in the beginning before therapy, before groups, and 7 days a week, 24/7, they have access to these medicines. Yeah. And we've traveled up and picked all of this ourselves. Nothing is bought online. Like we've came up with a budget to make the travel, and we go up north or wherever, and we actually pick all these medicines ourselves. We're never going to buy anything online. Everything is harvested here, and the seasons. Everything is harvested within the season that is that it's given to us. So it's incredible.
So how do people find you, like people that need help? What can they do if they want to be a part of this? Like if they need support.
We have a website. It's ThunderMakerWellness.com, or we have an Instagram page, and it'll be ThunderMaker Wellness.
Facebook as well.
Facebook,
Instagram, right? All of them
Instagram,
also
yeah.
showing.
Instagram. If you look up Che Jim, he's also a famous TikTok and social media person. He has a link to our page also.
Yeah, and he's very funny, by the way. For
Yeah.
those who don't know them, it's
He's our chief marketing officer, but he's also one of our spiritual leaders here as well.
Wow.
I mean, Arrow's funnier in person.
I definitely live up to the last name.
So where are we now? What's this? That's like for meetings, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like we maybe do large office meetings or talk. Come in. It's just a space we can use. If we're watching a movie or doing whatever. So
We've done quite a few TikTok videos in here for social media.
my dad painted this. So my dad.
You did?
My dad.
Oh, really?
When we went to Standing Rock when that was going on, and it's a painting about it. So.
Unarmed. The longer you look at it, the more you see.
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam veteran. Wow, how powerful, eh? That's water is sacred, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We have a lot of good support. We have a lot of good support. A lot of family members, a lot of community members, and this is definitely one of those things that he created this amazing artwork and thought it would be perfect here on the center's walls. So,
It is.
I mean, this is who we are.
Mm.
We're advocating for this change in any way, shape, or form that we feel is necessary.
Mm.
This was one of this is one of the moments that helped advocate for something very healthy for our people, for not just for Native people, but human beings in general and land.
It was. It was a beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. There were problems there, but I remember driving into it, and there was this row of hundreds and hundreds of tribal flags. I mean, we need more of that. We need tribes to be connected like that, and it shouldn't be because of this thing like this. It needs to be because we need to support each other. We need to, because this, right? Yeah. This is, the pipeline's not great. But when we look at how many people are dying from suicide, murder, from drugs and alcohol, I mean, it's probably the main killers for our tribe. I mean, there's a book that I was reading. He associated 90% of the deaths in his community to alcoholism, whether it was from drunk driving, whether it was from cirrhosis of the liver, diabetes, murder. They all had connections with alcohol. Mm. And we want to think of alcohol as just this like addiction that it's only affecting all these things, but is one of the biggest killers in every single tribe.
Yeah. So just to let you know, we have about 10 minutes more left.
Okay.
And I just wanted to ask you these questions. I mean, like, what would you say is like the most challenging thing in doing this work, and what is the most beautiful?
I think one of the most challenging things we face is tribal support. You know, unfortunately, there was some things that happened in the state of Arizona with insurance. Somebody found a loophole that created this financial, I don't know how to say it.
They took advantage.
Yeah.
They exploited it. There was a good system and they exploited it. And the people that are always affected are poor people. I mean, it doesn't matter. Poor people are always affected in the repercussions of people taking advantage of the system. You know, they create good systems, and people that are greedy ruin it for everyone.
Yeah. So there was a lot of fraud that took place in the state of Arizona. There was a lot of rehabs and sober livings that opened up, and they were targeting tribal members. And a lot of people got rich very fast off of these fraudulent homes. And I think that moment in time might have put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, you know. And but we weren't a part of any of that. And that's really a part of the solution we're trying to provide, is the opportunity to create something that helps make that possibility impossible now. You know, like there needs to be, like we need to have ownership of our places. We need to have ownership. That way we understand and know where we're sending our people, you know, not to just some random place that says they're culturally competent, but they're only providing a braid of sweetgrass and letting a traditional practitioner come in one time a week. You know, we're more than one time a week. And so I think getting more, you know, advocacy from different tribes, and really like just having tribes come out and sit at our dinner table and have a conversation with us and allow us to kind of, you know, explore ways of partnerships and explaining what ThunderMaker is and how we can get help from one another, how we can really help feed each other and advocate for one another. And, you know, we don't really see ourselves as a recovery center. It's more of an educational institute, like a school. And recovery just happens to be one step in the beginning of what this education and school is. And if we can come together, you know, community-wise as a people and really like help one another, you know, the possibilities are endless. You know, most people see Native Americans and the first thing that come to their mind is casinos. You know, that's what we're known for: casinos, fry bread, alcoholism. You know, and that's not who we are. You know, like we're so dependent on casino revenues as some tribes, and it's like we can be better than that. We can have, you know, farms. We can have, you know, ranches, other businesses that aren't, you know, generating income based on, you know, addiction or people suffering. And that's what casinos are. It's
the scraps.
Yeah.
Dominant culture has allowed us to have the scraps. They're like, minorities get to be involved in all the entertainment and none of the businesses that have dignity. And that's what a casino is. And then when tribes talk about getting involved in THC, it's the same thing. It makes me feel like they want us to be nickel and dime drug dealers and the corner guy selling lottery tickets. You know, that's not who we are, and that doesn't align with any of our values. It's allowed us to get a step up to maybe create middle class communities, but it's the thing that's going to kill us. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with who we are as people. You know, we need to be the caretakers of our land.
Yeah.
You know, and healers.
And what is the most beautiful thing you experience in your work? A lot, probably.
There's a lot. We're in this weird place, but I'm definitely in this weird place. We have good things that happen every single week, but the stress of the idea of failure, but also the stress of, this isn't a business of if you fail, nothing bad happens. If you fail, people die. This isn't just another business. This is saving lives in a real way, and it's saving lives in lots of ways. Saving children's lives, where if we can bring a father back to his home to become a good dad and take care of his family, there's
nothing more beautiful than that, right?
That's breaking that generational trauma. And everyone talks about it. But there should be more things like this.
More solutions. We know the problems there. We know it's an issue, but what are we doing to provide a solution? The time for talking is over. Like, the time for action is right here, right now. Hunter said this 100 times to our entire team. We need to create a solution as big as the problem. And
at least.
At least. Right?
Yeah.
And to us, like, what's the bare minimum? What's the bare minimum? We want to do more than that. And I think one of the greatest things, like you asked, is seeing the light come back into our relatives' eyes. We have a few relatives in our care right now, and where they were a week or two before they came into our facility to where they're at now is just, it's so emotional. It's so rewarding, like, just to see the change take place and to be able to witness that, on something as simple as braiding sweetgrass or having them put the fire together for the sweat, and they're all about it. We were able to go to a dance up on the Navajo reservation, and our relatives got up, didn't have to be told or asked. They got up and went and shook all the elders' hands and thanked them for being there. And what can I do to help? I want to help. What can I do to help? Can I help serve food? Can I help move chairs? They went and served all the food to the elders. To me, it's like, they wouldn't have done that weeks before.
No.
To see them come together as brothers and help one another and advocate and participate and contribute. It's just like, this is why we're doing this. This is why, for them, for our brothers, for our relatives. That way they can go back home and be that father, that uncle, and that, that son, and make that necessary change. So I think being able to witness that is definitely, for me, for us, has been one of the most rewarding moments, I think, lately. But like Hunter said, we have wins every day, every week. And being able to work with my brother every day, like, this isn't work. I
can feel that. Like, you two are tight. It's so beautiful. Like, you love each other. You can feel that. It's beautiful.
But our team's like that. We believe in what we're doing. Not everyone gets to go to a job and believe and really know that they're helping. So.
That's the greatest thing, really, because you have a purpose, right? And you see the change. You can actually really make a change. But I believe that everybody can make a change.
Yeah,
as you say, it's not like the specially gifted ones. Right. It's all of us.
It's all of us.
It takes a community. Like the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. We're all children in some shape or form, and it takes a village for us to feed one another,
Hey guys, I could be talking and listening to you for the entire day. I'm serious. But getting towards the end. So, is there anything you want to share before I'm gonna push that button?
We need more support.
Yep.
We need people to share the word of what we're doing, and if you ever come out, there's always a place for you. There's always a bowl and a spoon for you at our table, a cup. Come out, participate in sweat. Just come see what we're doing if you want. And spread the word. We're trying to make a change, and we can't do that alone. We need people to help us. We need community members to help us. We need people to be advocates for us in every direction of this world.
And donations in any way. So, I mean, this is a big project, and we want to hire the best people, and when we do art projects, we want to do the best art projects. I mean, we want to create a facility that provides opportunities that a lot of our relatives have never had, and that's not free. And one of the reasons we're for profit is because I don't want to beg for money from nonprofits. We do have a nonprofit and we use it, but we have to have a model that functions just in case anything bad happens. So we're using both structures. Hopefully one helps the other, but we need to create something that's sustainable. And nonprofits make me feel like we're begging always, and to me that takes away my dignity.
Right.
So.
I think it would be the completely wrong foundation for what you're doing, because you're depending, you're not free,
Right.
And that would be like completely wrong energy for what you're trying to give to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you.
it's so touching. Thank you.
Thank you.
So after the video, I just sat in my truck for a while and I reflected on what they said, and my heart is wide open. I'm deeply touched. And it's hard work. They're depending on donations because they're not government supported. So please, please, please donate. They need as much as possible to keep up their great work. I will post a link underneath the video where you can donate. Please do. They really need it. Thank you.